Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier kicking off Saturday's Pick 6 at Santa Anita with Grade 1 stakes action. It's the Frank E. Kilroe Mile, carded as race number 5. And if you sign up with a DRF Bets account, you can get down on this Pick 6 with some nice cash. Deposit $50, bet with $200. Learn more at bets.drf.com. Let's meet the field of turf milers getting set to go in the prestigious Frank E. Kilroe Mile Stakes. Morning line favorite, Matt, is the number 4 Catapult, winner of the Eddie Reed, winner of the Del Mar Mile. And this horse had trips, I thought, in his last 2 races. In the Breeders' Cup Mile, he made this big early 4-wide bid to a clear lead on the far turn and then was really game to finish a close second. And last time out in the Pegasus World Cup, he just pulled Joel Rosario 4 wide on the backstretch with a really early move into a fast pace, and he understandably tired late at a distance that's probably a little bit too far for him. Catapult, if he can settle down in behind horses, should be kicking strongly in the lane.
100% agree with all that. I mean, you could make the argument that his 2 most recent runs, while neither of them were wins, that they might be the 2 best races he's run. I know he's got those big races over the summer at Del Mar, but he was awesome in the Breeders' Cup, and I thought he was really solid in the Pegasus given the circumstances and the way that he was a little bit headstrong. Now, look, that is part of the deal when you get along with Catapult. He's the kind of horse that can be a little bit quirky from time to time. He has been ever since Chad Brown has him as a 2-year-old. But at the same time, the talent has always been there. I think John Sadler has taken his game to the next level. I said it last year. Everyone focused on Accelerate. I think his best training job was with Catapult to get him as rock solid as he has been, and I expect another honest effort from him.
We're going to take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race, and I have to be honest with you, I don't see Catapult out there on the lead. I think he'll be throwing his head around and going nuts if he's not covered up in behind horses. So I think someone's got to make the lead, and I'm not exactly sure who that's going to be because most of these horses are mostly mid-pack runners. Let's talk about the 5. Next Chairs, who's sitting second up on the pace projector. Next Chairs is a horse that came from next to last to win the San Gabriel 2 starts back. That race, he did defeat 2 next out winners. It earned him a shot in the Pegasus World Cup. I don't think he cared for the yielding ground at Gulfstream that day. We have a formulator fact that I think we should take with several grains of salt. Richard Baltus has been training this horse. He ran under the name of Amy Delassie last time out, so first after the trainer switch, 61 to 120 days. It actually qualifies, but consider it. 30%, $2.16 ROI. I'd be gobsmacked if he's close to the pace.
Yeah, it doesn't seem likely, but you brought up kind of a key thing, and we've seen in these turf races, there is no real confirmed speed in here, and it does make me wonder if you have one of these horses, like a Next Shares, like a Catapult, who you know is going to kick home like a mule. There's really no question about that. If you can all of a sudden get within, I don't know, a length and a half of the lead throughout this run, you're going to be able to finish faster than everyone else is. I think he's an honest sort. He also had a little bit of a hiccup going into the first turn of the Pegasus. He had to tap brakes, check off heels. I don't think he just ever got comfortable after that. This feels like a very reasonable spot. I'm going to be curious to see how he's ridden. I guess the only other race that I would go back to and point toward as far as potentially sort of a running style for him, go back to that Shadwell Turf Mile. He was about 3 lengths off of a very hot pace that day, and I wonder if that's sort of what Timeform is using to project forward, where maybe he is up a little bit closer than maybe normal circumstances would suggest.
Hunt we know as the class to win this race. Heck, he won the Grade 1 Shoemaker Mile over Next Chairs last year. He popped a triple-digit Buyer's speed figure, and since then he's been a little bit below par. Now, I realized last time out he was coming off a long layoff, and perhaps Phil D'Amato was simply using the down-the-hill Clocker's Corner as a prep. I wanted to see a little bit more in that race. He just didn't do any running, and I know it was a good field. Eddie Haskell came back to win with a 98 Buyer's speed figure. It was just, to me, a disappointing effort. I hate playing horses in these big races off lousy returns. I expect him to improve, and maybe he'll actually show a little bit of speed on the stretch out. I don't know. I'm just kind of bearish on Hunt while realizing his best race puts him right in the mix.
His best race, he can certainly win this. I'm with you. I haven't liked any of his 3 most recent runs, and keep in mind, he went away after the Shoemaker at the end of May of last year for a reason. It's not as though they just wanted to kind of put him away and keep him around. He shows back up at Del Mar. He did no running in either of those 2 races. And then you brought it up to 6.5. Initially, keep in mind, that's what he used to be when he first got over here. They were going down the hill with him. I just don't think he's done any running in each of the past 3. There's no reason for me to all of a sudden think that he's going to wake up here.
Thought Ohio ran well in the City of Hope Mile, finishing third at Santa Anita over this distance back in October. Maybe the Seabiscuit was a situation where the trip didn't work out for him. He came back. They found a great confidence-boosting spot at Turf Paradise. And last time out, he just got beat. I thought he ran okay. I think he actually has enough speed that if the jock wants to use it, maybe Ohio can take the lead. But he's another one of those horses that gets rank and pulls and gets crazy, and you don't want to expend too much energy in the early portion of the race fighting your jockey.
This is a darned if you do, darned if you don't position here for this horse. Now, look, I liked him a lot in the Thunder Road. I almost vomited when he didn't get the job done. It was terrible. I'm looking at it going, how many more times can I give you an opportunity? But you brought up a key piece, I think, for this horse in a spot like this. Yes, he is another one of those headstrong, crazy ones, but he has the gas to make the front if they really want to. And it does make me wonder a little bit if it's not a horse like River Boyne on the outside, who we'll talk about in a little bit. I wonder if Ruben Fuentes uses this horse early on. And you know what? You're willing to give up a little bit of energy with him kind of pulling his antics and doing whatever if you're going to be a length and a half, 2 lengths ahead of everyone. Because I think his last 2 or 3 races, really with the exception of that Seabiscuit, I think they've all been respectable.
You've chased Ohio to frustration. I've chased Desert Stone to frustration. Desert Stone, unlike Ohio, just is no speed whatsoever, is not good out of the gate, is likely to be last and might be up against it from a pace scenario, and he quite often finds traffic trouble. It's becoming really frustrating because I do think this horse has talent, and one of these days he's going to put it together at a big price. But the way this race might be run, I'm not sure it's going to be run to suit Desert Stone.
No, I agree. We've talked about it so many times. He's a nice closer. He's a good horse. The problem is I don't think he's the best closer in the race, and if that's the case, it's difficult for me to make a case for him.
Quite honestly, I would send River Boyne if I was Rafael Bejarano and try to make the lead in here, because we know this horse does have the pace pressing ability. We saw that early as a 3-year-old when he won the Rainbow Stakes at 9 furlongs. This horse was one of the better 3-year-old turf horses on the West Coast last year, and he was arguably best last time out. He just ended up in a box in between horses in mid-stretch, never could extricate himself until it was too late, and I think they're not fooling around this time. I think they're going to try to make the lead with River Boyne from this outside post. If someone is really intent on it, he can sit. He is a very dangerous contender.
Yeah, and that's why I said we'll get to River Boyne in a moment, because I agree. I think he's going to be forwardly placed. Now, if Ohio or someone to the inside is intent on going, River Boyne will probably take up the perfect stalking position. But if nobody wants to go, you brought up that Rainbow. That's the one to me that signifies, you know what, this horse is not some kind of speed crazy one. And I think they've just sort of reverted to these off-the-pace tactics because he's just been that good against the company that he's been keeping. The Thunder Road, I understand the argument to be made that he was the best in there, and if he hadn't gotten, just completely shut off down the lane, he would have just gone on and won. I think he would have been there. I don't know that he was that much better than the rest of the field. To be honest, I don't know how good the Thunder Road field as a whole is, and I think, unfortunately for all of those horses coming out of there, unless you want to incorporate sort of the tactical advantage, I just think the 2 big horses in here are much better than what they were facing.
Let's take a look at our top pick for the Grade 1 Frank E. Kilroe Mile. It's all whether Drayden can get Catapult to settle in the early portion of this race, because if he does, I think he's going to be too strong for them in the lane. You concur. Give me numbers.
Yeah, the other thing, too, with Catapult, this is dangerous to say, but if he runs the Pegasus, I think he wins. Even with him pulling and being up that close, I think that could work to his advantage. It's a cold 4-5 exacta for me.
I'm with you. 4, 5, 2, and 6 for me in the Grade 1 Frank E. Kilroe Mile. We are kicking off the Pick 6 at the Great Race Place on Saturday with this race, race number 5. Make sure you get down with a new DRF Bets account. Deposit 50, bet with 200 with DRF Bets. It's as easy as ready, set, bet. An approximate post time for the Kilroe Mile, 3 o'clock Pacific. Good luck.